All right, folks, live from London. There you have a nice shot of the London Eye and the beautiful River Thames. Beautiful stuff here in London.
At least you didn't call it the River Thames this time.
A lot of people. Yeah. I've never said that.
Look at me. There we go.
You got a bit insecure
for a second. That's the first time I've said the river. So again, I'm Sir Scoots.
I'm here in London, England.
Sir
the River Thames.
Thorin, Richard Lewis, bunch of jerks.
Gfinity.
Let's before we talk about the next match we're gonna do, let's talk about what just happened at the break. Okay. You can talk all you want about Vox is getting lucky. They're squeaking by. They just now.
I never said that.
They took a map now off of Nip. Took Train 16-13, first map of that series. But again, they're doing everything they need to do to show the world that we're from down under, but you know what? We can play with these boys.
Now, don't get me wrong. I need to know whose map pick this was. Do we know?
I don't know.
If you don't have the information to hand, no big deal. But
Vox's
pick. So here you go. What I talked about earlier with maybe you pick a train, you go for a wild card against one of the better teams. Very good strategy, and they've gone ahead and done it against Nip, who I'm pretty sure they've let Train through, thinking there's no way Vox is going to pick this. There's no way. Nobody really wants to play it at the moment because the strats aren't there, and of course it's gone against Nip, and that's completely contradictory to what we saw yesterday from Nip, who were looking really solid, reliable, grinding out a result against Fnatic. It's a huge result for Vox, and like I said, I've been trying to say all day that, I probably wouldn't have predicted that they would be doing this well at this stage, but I saw them as they were going to get involved in the group. They were going to have a say in who goes through. Now, interestingly enough, if they keep taking maps off people, they're going to have a say in who goes through the group because they're going to go through the group.
Well, yeah, and just kind of looking at the math of that, so if they split it and Nip gets one, then Fnatic, Nip, and Vox will all be at 5 points with one match left.
Yeah.
And none of those matches are with each other.
And Vox will be playing Na'Vi. Right?
And Fnatic plays Liquid, so they, in theory, have the easier schedule.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, like Sponge said, give us some credit, boys. I mean, well done. Well done.
I mean, he did say that specifically at Thorin,
yeah, but in general, I think,
The Aussies all know.
An amazing job, well done. The second map for them is Dust 2. And again, that's going to go live on the Challenger stream very soon, so you definitely want to check that out. But let's jump into ours. Again, Envyus Immunity is our first one.
Yep.
Again, on paper, should be an Envyus 2-0. Immunity certainly has not astounded us with anything, but your initial thoughts on it before we know the maps.
Yeah, I mean, Envyus Immunity rather, they had the almost upset over Titan, the other French team. But as I kind of mentioned before when we were talking about Cloud9 versus Envyus, we saw in that game actually, Cloud9 even had some good rounds, they had some good tactics, sometimes they got entries, they got into situations, but just the raw fragging power of Envyus was just too much. They can just overwhelm, they can come back, because they're so good in that sense. Unless they're playing equally world-class teams, they never have to worry that we're out of a game or it leads too much. They know that they can be down 0-6, and if they just kick into gear, they can win 16-6. That's how ridiculous this team is. So they won't be lacking any confidence in this matchup. And that's why I think just on a raw skill level, Envyus should have too much for the Immunity guys to handle. Maybe they can get some rounds, but I think it very much should be Envyus here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can't see what Immunity are going to do here. They had that Mirage against Titan where it goes to overtime. They really should have won that, actually, if we're being brutally honest. But they didn't. And it's those little degrees where you're just starting to think, nothing's going to go our way. Now, Envyus on Mirage, I don't know what the stats are, but you've said they're not a particularly
They're
great
just
team.
okay. They haven't played it very much.
So, they'll probably ban that out, and that might have been a window that Immunity might have had. You just get rid of Mirage. They've shown they can play it against Titans. So you just get rid of it. You take it away from them, and then what have they got? There's not one other map in the pool, maybe the exception of Train. I haven't seen Envyus on Train yet. But there's not one of the map in the pool where I'd be saying, Immunity could cause an upset here. Envyus are consistently good on all maps. Even the ones that, the 4th, 5th picks, the ones that they really don't like to play, the ones they only play as deciders in extended series, they're still very good on these maps as well. Now, Immunity are the weakest team here overall, I would probably say. So this should be a steamrolling performance from Envyus, and that's exactly what they need going into a much more complex game afterwards.
I mean, the maps you'll expect to see here, just in terms of what both teams like and would be willing to play, is like Inferno, Dust 2. These are the sorts of maps. In general, Immunity are probably going to steer away from, Cobblestone, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The problem I see for these guys on Immunity is they don't have a JKS, which is what Vox have. They don't have one player who can go utterly crazy and get to the level of some of the really good players on Envyus. So, like I say, skill for me is going to be a big thing holding them back, as well as the maps.
I mean, that's the thing as well, you know, like, let's not forget that we've talked about, you know, the Australians come up. Immunity have been over and playing in Europe for a good few tournaments now, you know, and they haven't been able to really, you know, they haven't really been able to sort of get any joy out of it. You know, it's been quite a...
I mean, they beat Liquid, but the problem is we've now learned that's not much of an accomplishment, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? If that's the feather in the cap, then burn your cap.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the rosters.
Keep the cap. It's just not a very good. It's not a crown, Richard. Okay, you can keep the cap. You don't have to. You're not obliged to burn it because Liquid was involved with it in some way.
Yeah. Okay. I've been infected with Thorin there.
So let's kind of go ahead and talk about the players on each team. Let's go. We'll talk about Envyus first, obviously. You know, they'll bring up a roster graphic in a minute.
I can tell you who's on the team if you want.
Why don't you just kind of start walking us through that team?
So probably the best player at the moment, even in their kind of slump, the guy who's really raised his level and become a consistent performer. They've brought him up now, so I'll start in the middle with him. It's Kiyoshima, who for some reason in this picture is wearing glasses, which he normally doesn't do, but looks like a bit of a geek with them on. But
hey, whoa!
We're all geeks here, mate.
Okay.
It's a badge of pride, you know.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't look like a geek, but used to be one of the best players in the world, Shocks to his left there. Bizarrely, I think what's happened is Kiyoshima's taken Happy's glasses as a joke here, because Happy normally wears glasses and the sort of thick-rimmed ones like that. He's sort of a young...
That's like an Easter egg. That's for the real hardcore fans.
Exactly.
If they did a movie about Happy's life, they'd get... When he's older, they'd get that guy from Heroes who was the horn-rimmed glasses guy, and he'd play Happy. Okay, there we go. So Happy used to be the in-game leader. Actually, that's swapped to Shocks, temporarily at least, so we'll see how long that lasts. Happy's famous for being a lurker, quite a high-impact player, gets a lot of kills. Kiyoshima's mainly an entry guy. Shocks before was playing that role with him, but I'm not quite sure now that he's the in-game leader. I think that's adjusted a little bit. NBK and Smiths are more the supportive players, but saying that, NBK of the two actually is more the strict support roles that you'd expect, the small sites, etc. Smiths, sometimes on certain maps, certain halves, he'll AWP. He's quite a flashy, very fast reaction, twitch kind of AWPer. So there's the team, Envyus.
And I think we've got a little more detailed information on how Shocks is doing so far. So we're going to bring that up. Well, actually, it's all of 2015.
I mean, that's a pretty good entry kill ratio. If you're getting one kill around, and that's literally you're doing the best job you can do there. Because remember, some of the guys who are in frags, you're not going to get a kill every round.
And I think, you know, talking about Shocks, it's interesting to note that actually this whole entry fragging that he's doing, that was almost like a reinvention. That isn't what he used to do. That's something that in this team he's kind of, you know, been not pushed into. I mean, that's the wrong word, but
there we go.
You know, he's evolved to be able to add that to his repertoire as a player. So he can, you know, the numbers don't lie. He's somebody who can consistently go to sites and just open them up. And the way Envyus play, they can just be hyper aggressive. You know, it's really, really hard once that happens to hold a bomb site and to hold them off, which is why traditionally Envyus have such good T-halves, even on maps that usually you shouldn't. And
if you look there at his 1v1 clutch stats, it was like 86%.
Yeah.
So that is phenomenal. And remember, he's playing so many tournaments where, because his teams never dropped below top 4 in 2015, he's always getting to semis. So he's playing the best teams in the world, and he's maintaining that ratio there. He's not just playing the bad teams, cleaning up on all the 1v1s, and then not doing well otherwise.
Yeah, and obviously, also, shout-outs to him, because he gave me some beard advice. And he complimented my beard, and he's a pretty suave guy.
Yeah,
so,
you will never be as beautiful as Shocks, unfortunately.
Well, never.
It's too late for that.
Let's now take a quick look at team immunity.
To be fair.
Yeah, true.
And we'll walk us through.
Not for CS,
Why don't you walk us through immunity? Because you're pretty familiar with these guys.
Since you know my newfound Australian, you know, patriotism's coming out. So look, I highlighted Sniper yesterday, and that's been awful for him. So I'm going to spare him that. But he has been around a while. He's somebody that people will point to as being, you know, very good.
He's also the official sniper. Do not confuse him with other snipers with a Y.
Well, you were calling him Spidey yesterday as well. So, you know, it is easy to get him confused. But like, so he actually had a real poor run of form the other day. Now the guy who stood out for them at this tournament, probably actually there's been two. So, but I would say the best player for immunity. During the whole European excursion, actually, it's probably been Ricky. He's been the guy that's been getting lots of kills, you know, all over the map, you know, doing everything that you need really from a good rifler. So he's been the guy that's really stood out. But also as well, Ustio, I think it's pronounced. He's been another player that's actually shown signs of life. Like if Team Immunity are going to go head-to-head and toe-to-toe with Envyus, which they absolutely hands down can't do, but let's just pretend that they can for a moment, then Ricky and Ustio are going to be the guys that are going to have to carry the fight. If they don't do that, then it's going to be a very, very quick game.
All right, and we do have our vetoes, so let's bring that to you right now for map 1. So as you can see, Immunity dumps out Cobblestone and Train, and Envyus dumps out Mirage and Overpass. Immunity ends up picking Cash.
I mean,
thoughts on that, guys?
The way the map vetoes worked out there is ideal for Envyus, because the last 3 maps that they're letting them pick from is like maybe the 3 best maps for Envyus. That you can pick which of the 3 you want to play. We don't mind.
Why don't you pick? You just go ahead. Yeah.
The thing is, I think Immunity are caught between a rock and a hard place here. Like I said, Envyus is going to take Mirage off them, and that's that then. Yep. So what have you really got? You know, if you don't want to play a Cobblestone against Envyus, which is smart, and you don't want to play Train full stop, then you're going to basically let Envyus have the pick of their maps at that juncture. So, yeah, they'll get Caches and Envyus map.
I think this is the right pick, though, because of the 3, I don't want to play them on Inferno for obvious reasons, even though they can be questionable. And Immunity can be okay. But the problem is no one wants to play them on Dust 2. In Dust 2, they're so good that you can never even know based on the half. Like, you can start on your T side, do great, and you won't know that you'll win that many CT rounds to take the game. So it's just too up in the air. Cash, okay, at least there's some play there. You can have a chance maybe. So I think it's the right pick for Immunity based on what was left.
Let's go ahead and take a look at map 2 and see what we ended up with. And we ended up with Dust 2.
Same scenario. This time Envyus are the ones who pick. So like I say, they choose Dust 2 because, okay, first of all, it's a Fragger map. It's the map that they're so good at on both sides. They're supremely confident no matter what the situation in the game is. They're also a great team on this map, particularly at using like half buys and just pistols. There are a number of times I've seen them with like all CZs just win around. It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other problem you've got. So they've got the best T side out of anyone right now on Dust 2. Okay, and on top of that, if you're a weaker team, what you need to do is when you're ahead and the economy's working for you, you really got to, try and just get a run around. Maybe, if we can get a little bit of momentum going on, we can get a string of rounds, who knows what can happen. But the problem is Envyus will just buy Tech 9s and wreck you like it's a full buy. They don't even eco anymore. They just can't be bothered. It's like, what can we get? All right, give MBK a jump scout and we'll win a round. Like, it's that simple. So for weaker teams, you can't even, if you do manage the mighty task of winning 1 round anyway, good luck stringing any together, because Envyus is going to come at you with unorthodox guns and probably destroy you. So this series is going to be rough for Immunity, hands down.
That's also, though, why I also feel like when you play Envyus, they even lull you into thinking you're doing well. Like, you're like Cloud9, okay, you think, oh, I'm winning rounds on them, like, we're getting a few rounds going, and it's like, yeah, that's because they buy no matter what, because they force buy round after round after round, no matter what weapon, because they're like, well, eventually, we're going to win a round, because we're so good, and then once we do, it'll just be us in control again. So they'll even sort of give up rounds and be kind of a bit kind of cavalier in that sense, because they know eventually they're so good, they're going to get around. Some player's going to get a crazy kill and then get your gun and kill everyone else. It's just going to happen.
And it's really interesting, actually, because one of the things that the community, or rather, non-Envyus fans have criticised them for is this, abusing of things. And it's what they do so well. And it's one of the things that I actually admire about them as a team. They understand the game to a point where they do play in an unorthodox way. They play like nobody else. They're saying, look, we're not even going to eco. Forget the traditional way of approaching the game. We're literally just going to buy, and our way of doing things will out. I mean, as a philosophy, it's quite alluring, isn't it? Like, they're the kind of teams that you want to see do well.
So the theme song for Envyus would be like, bye, bye, baby, bye, bye, bye.
Don't ever sing that
song. I'll do it all the time, mate. Yeah. I'll think up more songs to sing.
You've changed, mate. I told you, money changed you. 1 year ago, the idea of you doing this on camera and singing songs.
Who are you?
Listen, Richard, I'm an all-around entertainer now, I'm not going to be pigeonholed into just journalist, okay?
Okay, all right, mate.
I do it all.
Count that cash. Count that cash.
So
I'll be playing Vegas this summer, Scoots. Come see my show.
Some, like cabaret show in the lounge?
It'll be me and David Copperfield.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And the guy who smashes the
drink
watermelons.
Specials in the Cleopatra Lounge, Caesar's Palace. All right, I think I know the answer. You're probably both going to say a 2-0 from Envyus. But let's just flip the script a little bit. What does Immunity have to do?
I'll make it different then. If you're going to say 2-0.
For Envyus, yeah.
Okay, I'll make it a little bit different. So I say humiliating 2-0, where they actually dominate them, make them feel not even really like men, like they deserve to even be here. Okay. Maybe feel a bit insecure, and maybe we're not even as good as Vox. And then just go back to Australia and go, I'm not even going to the next Gfinity. What's the point in even playing CS anymore? That sort of life-changing 2-0.
But
respect to Immunity.
What does Immunity have to do to win, though? Obviously, Envyus just shows up.
I've said this joke too many times, so I won't go with the obvious one, which is like voodoo, call on the power of Satan, put a mafia hit out on them.
Yeah,
we all know the jokes.
Yeah.
well, they need a miracle performance. Because like I said, they don't even have kind of the Joker, which we've seen from Vox, which is actually this JKS guy's been having performances on maps where he's been doing as crazy as you could expect.
Already been one of the MVPs of the tournament.
I can't look at Immunity and go, there's a guy who can do that and do it simultaneous to people on Envyus not staying up to the level. So I think it'll take, Immunity will have to have the best game they've ever had. And it's not that Envyus will have to play bad, they just have to play okay, or they maybe have to be too risky with the buys or something. I think it's too many things I think have to come together at once for this to be like a 2-0 especially. To win a map, maybe that's possible, but even so, with the maps that we're playing, that's my problem there. It's not going to be a train or something weird. It's going to be the home maps of Envyus. So I can't see any reason to predict that Immunity can win.
Anything to add to that? Probably not, right?
No, not unless it's another song.
Yeah, no more singing. No more, except for unless
yeah.
it's that song. All right, thank you, gentlemen. And again, it looks like we have two guys that called each other this morning and decided to dress the exact same way. They are good buddies. They both, I believe, work for Nip TV.
Clonanite. He's just
Chewy and Kyanite, take it away.
He's like Ditto from Pokemon.
I mean, come on, we both know what happened yesterday with Thorin, and then Thorin started speaking about glasses, and now Scoots goes for that.
They're just bullying you, Kyanite. They've actually been all right to me so far.
Clonanite.
Clonanite. They've been. We actually talked about Thorin's fan base yesterday and how they need a name like Justin Bieber has Beliebers, and we're calling them the Thorinists. I think that was the term we came up for anyway, all of his fan base.
Are you a Thorinist?
I'm not too sure after the end of this event. We'll see how nice he is to me. Maybe I will be, maybe I won't be. We'll see. But anyway, game time. Envy versus Immunity. They're just getting ready. I think there's a quick monitor switch going on, so it shouldn't be too long before we are live. But Cache, as the Australians like to call it, or Cache is the first map. What do you think about it, Kyanite, for these two teams?
Well, I think Cache and Dust 2 are two very similar maps. You know, mid control is very crucial, even though the current metagame sort of has begun to see teams sort of drop back from controlling mid and play this bomb site. It's a little bit more passive. The reason why mid's so important on a map like DE Cache is because, for example, if you can push mid as a terrorist, get the all-important vents control, it gives you another avenue in towards the B bomb site and gives you an easy gateway into checkers to allow you to execute an attack on that smaller B bomb site. Or when you want to hit the A bomb site, obviously, without going through mid, you can hit it through A main and hit it through the squeaky door area. But if you get mid control, smoke off Z, you can then creep up towards short and then surround any CTs defending that bomb site, particularly if you can smoke off truck. So Cache is a map I love. I know for a fact it's a map that we know Immunity, and I would like to assume, are somewhat decent on because they did beat Liquid on it at the Face It LAN.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's your take on it? I know it's your favourite map.
It is my favourite map to play and to cast as well, so I'm hoping it is a good one. But in the grand scheme of things, just looking at these two lined up, yes, you are right. Immunity did beat Liquid on it, but this is Liquid, completely different team to Envyus, and so they do like the map. But you know, we saw the veto stages. They were actually left in a weirdly awkward predicament because the last three maps that they were left with that first map veto, I believe, was Inferno, Dust 2, and Cache. And as the guys behind the Gfinity desk said, probably the best pick that they could have gone for. But still, it's Envyus on Cache, and they're still a good team on that map.
Well,
so
the three maps, Cache, Inferno, and DDoS 2, are arguably, again, like the guys at the Gfinity desk said, Envyus' strongest map. So all we can do is hope for Immunity. Hey, Vox, they just beat NIP. Immunity, they had a solid game on Mirage yesterday, so as far as I'm concerned, I don't like to rule anyone out just yet.
No, of course, and you don't want to do that. We can't start to be biased. But we know the two teams that are in this game, and we know who the favourites will obviously be for this one. But still, wouldn't it be great to see another close game? Just to mix up those results further, we've already had some really crazy results so far this tournament to mix up those group stages and to see what the point system is like. But we're into the ninth round, almost ready to fully go live with this game, Kyanite, and I'm not going to ask you for score predictions, but are you relatively convinced it should just be a straight 2-0 for Envy here? Or if you are you going to go full foreign mode and say that it's going to be to the extent where Immunity aren't going to want to play the game anymore?
My gut feeling tells me that Immunity could get around 7 or 8 rounds on Cache, but I think DDoS 2 could be a stomp. DDoS 2, Envyus are just arguably one of the strongest teams on that map. I just can't see Envyus losing it. As well, the dynamic of their team, they've got so many versatile players like Shox, who's a phenomenal rifler and can pick up the AWP when required as well. That really suits a map like DDoS 2. So they're currently playing Ringa Roses on this knife round, and there's Imagine all by himself. So what do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be a really difficult one in either way, and obviously they want to go off to a hot start, and I think that's going to be quite a key thing for Immunity here. If they can really get that pistol round going on their T side now, as it looks like they will be, so Envy deciding to stay on the CT side as you would normally do. So I think if Team Immunity can come off hot, bring it to the faces of Envyus and really, bring some aggression maybe and catch them off guard at the start of the game, maybe then they can start to get the ball rolling, but it's still going to be a very difficult task. And even if they do get a good start against Envyus, we know what this French team can do. We know that they can pull it back with what looks like at times almost quite a lot of ease. So, who knows what's going to happen, but it is going to be a very difficult task for them, and they are starting on this less favoured T side on cash to start things off, which doesn't help them in some respects as well. But I mean, looking at that immunity roster, if you had to pick one player there to really be the one to step up in this game and really go for it and lead the way to victory, if they are going to do that, who would it be for you?
Astillo impressed me a lot yesterday. Obviously, he was brought in from Streamline quite recently to replace Yam, who's now joined Vox. But what I'm really looking forward to is once we go to the gun rounds, I'm intrigued to see how Envyus are going to play the CT side. Are they going to put an AWPer at mid like Smiths to just basically sit in Z and trying to hold it from there? Are they going to smoke mid and push all the way up, stick people underneath boost? Let's wait and see. But here, the pistol round could be really important for Immunity. You give them a bit of money to work with. So let's see what happens.
Well, it's going to be that retake situation on A if Team Immunity do push in. They're happy playing very passively back towards the truck and nobody else on top of that A bomb site initially. Very slow start so far. Nobody wanting to give away any early initiative in this round.
So only one player on the A bomb site. Again, this is the new meta game where most teams on the pistol round, on the CT side of cash, they sort of hold back from in and around either deep on shore or deep around on the truck, sort of hand over the A bomb site to the T's and then play it on the retake. But at the moment, Team Immunity really yet to make their move.
Well, we can see now Ricky just spotting the edge of Smith in towards vents, but MBK takes off his head in that advanced position down the bottom of mid. Happy's going to peek around the corner and find Ustillo, that is. They have been able to get on towards that A-bomb site, but now the bomb will actually be making its way through. They get the smoke grenade down, and will they get the plant? Yes, they will.
Yeah, bomb is down. Sniper knows that Envyus are going to be making their way in from the short area. It's 3 versus 5. Great play from Envyus so far. James looking to put an end to it. Imagine gets the headshot. It's now 1 versus 3. But Sniper has crept behind the team from France. He had 2 more to deal with. If only perhaps he'd managed to drop Happy as well. But I still think the Envyus players would have still had enough time to defuse should they have terminated that final Immunity player. So pistol round has gone to the CT side, but still plenty of room to work with for Immunity. And let's not forget that they now have the Tech 9s that they could even use to switch this game around 360 degrees.
Yeah, well, sometimes what we're seeing as well on the T side is if you get that bomb down in the first round, some teams actually go for a full save at times or just get a couple of pistols so that they can try and afford to make sure they can get that early buy in round 3. So maybe Team Immunity are thinking of doing that. They've really not invested in much whatsoever here so far. Sniper and Imagine with P250s in hand, but it could be a relatively easy cleanup unless they are overwhelmed. Kiyoshima with 2 very quick, swift and easy kills. So to start things off, Imagine will fall finally, and Envyus 2-0.
Yeah, that was really impressive from Team Envyus. Obviously, Team Immunity, as you'd expect with the Tech 9s, they want to stay up close and personal, hence why they head straight towards the B bomb site. But because they planted on the initial round, they knew they didn't have to invest in armor. They brought up just pistols, which obviously made them a lot more vulnerable to the Team Envyus submachine guns. And because they planted the bomb, the Aussies, they've now got AK-47s. And Team Envyus, they're still on the same weapons they had last round. So when you compare the AK to these MP7s, there's only one winner. But Kiyoshima thinks otherwise.
Well, there is an initial trade there. Shoxy will fall to the hands of Imagine before, as you said, getting traded out. We can have a look. Once again, a very passive setup in mid, although now we see one player getting boosted up into the vents. That will be Smith, the man on your screen. Seeing what information he can find. Team Immunity backing off after that initial kill. And I like the aggression there from Team Envyus in that initial B main area to try and find some information. And it was only a trade frag, but still all the same. Smith with the P90 is going to try and do some damage down. The incendiary grenade falls as he sees more players coming through that B main area. And let's see if Team Immunity can push through.
Yeah, Smith rattles off a few shots with that P90, spraying and praying towards Checkers, but Team Immunity, they do have their hearts set here on the B-bomb site. They are a man down, but look at this position where Kiyoshima's hiding right in the corner. He will pop out with the MP7. He definitely sprayed and prayed there. Got a headshot. Ustillo and Ricky now returning frags, leaving it in a 2 versus 2.
MP7 and P90 against 2 AK-47s. You still look very, very low indeed. Just checking if anybody's coming from the flank. Rico is in this advanced position over towards the checkers area. I'm not sure if he spotted that player. Now he will have done. Tries to get that pre-fire shot onto Smith, but cannot find the head. Now he does, leaving NBK, the final player left alive. And that was the difficult position there for Envyus, because they had to split up to cover both bomb sites.
Yeah, that was massive. Team Immunity, they knew that Envyus knew they were on the B bomb site, so they slowed it down to perhaps try and trick them into think they were going round the back. They were 2 men down there at one point. Envyus, they got greedy knowing that they had the man advantage. They started peeking with less superior weapons, and credit where it's due to the Australians. They managed to get the headshots, and we could see Happy there. He's frustrated, and rightly so. But the good news is now that Team Envyus can still afford to mount a buy.
They most certainly can. No players with head armor on the CT side in round number 4. Let's see how they spread out. We've got 3 players from Team Envy heading over towards A, 2 over towards B. So no initial mid presence, although once again it looks like we will see 1 player, which I think is Kiyoshima. Yep, it is. Boosted into the vents area to see what information he can find.
Yeah, it's so crucial on the CT side. You've obviously got to be careful when you know the T's have figured out you continuously boost that person into vents, because when you do put that person into vents on the CT side, it allows you to control mid up close and personal, and thus allows the rest of your teammates to just focus on defending the other parts of the A and the B bomb site. But they know that Immunity have taken mid control because, of course, they dropped Kiyoshima, but they've got to be careful because Shoxy's in and around Z.
Well, Smith has now made his way over towards that B bomb site. Shoxy is going to find a smoke grenade at his feet, but 50 seconds left on the clock. We can now see them making their entrance over towards B, which was the right decision earlier on, unless Smith has something to say about it. That's 2 quick kills from him to give them the man advantage. Will it be 3? No, it will not. Denied. Shoxy pushing through the vents now will respond onto Justillo, and Knight were left on a 3 versus 2.
We are Shoxy. He didn't even bother waiting for his teammates. He decided to go all in. It's confident play from Shoxy and a confident retake from Team Envyus on that B bomb site. They didn't even manage to plant the bomb, and if they had planted the bomb and lost that round, of course, they would have gotten $800 more each. But that still would have left them in an extremely tight situation to mount a buy. So now we're probably only going to see P250s because it's the cheapest gun that isn't a Glock, obviously. They're going to play it out. They're most likely going to lose this one and buy up some AKs or maybe force some Galils come the next round.
Difficult thing there for Team Immunity was, of course, we had that information that all players, and actually for a while, left that B bomb site from Team Envyus. So if they had pushed it earlier on, they had a good chance of getting the bomb down, but unfortunately caught it a little too late and eventually lost the round as a result. So now we can see them stacking their way over towards the A bomb site here. Right on the edge in this sneaky little spot is Happy. NBK will find one. Happy gets the second, and well, the bomb has fallen at his feet. Another player will drop through, but imagine the last one left alive, making his way through A main now, and it won't be too long before he falls. He's just going to see if he can do some economic damage, and that's a nice kill onto Happy, but instantly traded by NPK, 4-1.
Still, considering that Team Immunity didn't actually buy up any armor that round, the fact that they managed to drop 2 out of 5 players, obviously, not just does them a world of good, because it means they get money for the P250 frags, but it also means that Team Envyus have to rebuy up them weapons. So it makes Team Envyus spend more money. And we know on the CT side in CSGO, it's so expensive, it's so much more expensive. You can win 2 rounds in a row, mount a bit of money, and the second you lose 1, you're then broke and you're back on the eco. So it's important now that Team Immunity, they keep with these rounds flowing. They need to try and deflate this Envyus economy and force them back onto an eco.
Team Envyus changing their defensive setup very slightly. We can see Kiyoshima now in an advanced position over towards Team Main, and also Shoxy on the sandbags in mid as well. Changing things up very slightly indeed, but no frags as of yet here, Knight. We can actually see Sniper through checkers there, only with that Tech 9 in hand, so he's in a tricky spot. Smith has just actually seen that grenade fly up over towards the top of him, flashes his way out. Kiyoshima's there to support as Sniper will fall. James goes down as well, and once again, this is looking great for Envyus.
Yeah, it almost looked like Team Immunity were interested in trying to mount a fake on towards a B-bomb site, but they just got completely taken out. But smokes have gone down, they have put off short, but Justillo was just left by himself there. And again, like I said, it looked like Team Immunity were trying to fake the B-bomb site with the 2 players there, maybe hoping one person would stay in checkers, make a bit of noise and rotate one back and push the A-bomb site as 4. Obviously because they smoked off CT spawn from B as well. But when you lose so many players so fast on, it left the guys heading towards the A-bomb site. There was only 3 of them, and then they just got taken out as well. So that's the Counter-Strike economy for you. Team Immunity back on pistols.
Punished down to pistols indeed, yes. Round number 7 it is. And Team Envyus looking strong as you would expect, only letting up 1 round so far and dealing good damage to the Team Immunity economy. So they're just going to see what economical damage they can do here. Once again, playing relatively passive, but you would have thought this would be a very easy round for Team Envyus. And one thing for Team Immunity here, this is what I said at the start, they can't allow Envyus to get the ball rolling and keep it going. They've got to take it to Envyus. So on this T side now, when they're attacking, they've got to pump up some aggression, I think, in my opinion.
Thing is, initially there was only one player in that NBK area, ironically, that Happy is playing. He will get the spray down here on this eco, but this is the problem when you head towards that A bomb site. There's so many different areas and corners that you have to check, which of course the CTs could potentially hide in. There could be a CT in the position where Happy was, a CT in NBK. The heck, there could even be a boost, behind the blue container on the bomb site, or even someone on short or someone on truck, which is why when you head towards the A bomb site, you've either, especially with those pistols where they're most effective at running and gunning, you've either got to push out all in one go and put your eggs in one basket, or you've got to use smokes to cancel out those areas, particularly when you know your opponents are with rifles and AWPs. And that's an important return frag from Ricky.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade initially at the start of this round, as Ustillo in a great position there, all the way through CT, able to find some good information here, but he's kind of doing a Lone Ranger job here. He's got no support from his teammates at the minute. They're in mid, but he will take down Smiths, and suddenly Envyus will be absolutely baffled as to how he got through there. Unfortunately, he's only able to pick up one kill. It will now be left in a 3 versus 2 situation. Happy smoking over towards this forklift area. Shoxy takes down Imagine. That's 2 kills in a row for Shoxy, and suddenly out of nowhere, Ricky finds himself the last one left alive. He will fall, and that should have been around for Team Immunity in my position, especially with Ustillo's good work pushing through CT. The
thing is, Team Immunity, that actually looked good for him at one point. Yeah. Team Envyus stacked the A bomb site with 3 players, slap bang on in the middle of the bomb site. And looking at it before all the kills happened, you just couldn't help but think to yourself, holy moly, Immunity now, even with these weapons, are going to roll into an A bomb site that's fully stacked. But they got the frags, but they knew Happy was lurking somewhere. They waited and waited and waited, and they gave Shoxy the time to rotate around towards Truck. And then he just mowed them down with the AK-47, and they can't let him do that.
Scar 20 on the hands of Smith. The auto sniper takes down 1, and that's just going to be even more humiliating for the Team Immunity squad. They have taken down NBK, and Shoxy is low, but it's not going to be enough. They try and do some damage with the Tech 9s in this 9th round, but it will not do it. Wow, okay, Smiths. Interesting. That's the auto sniper gone, actually. I don't think anybody's bothered to pick it up. But they got the bomb down, Team Immunity, of course, which is, a good thing. That's going to help their economy out. But in the grand scheme of things, Envyus are already starting to run away with this game.
Yeah, as expected, they picked up the auto sniper. It is, of course, a very expensive weapon. Yeah. And on a map like Cash, it can be really effective towards a B bomb site as well. Even more effective than an AWP, because obviously you don't need to just reload after every shot kind of thing, or pull the trigger, or whatever the hell it's called when you pull back the AWP thing.
Cocking the...
is that what it's called?
I don't know what it means. Weapons. No, neither am I. No.
Anyways, this is what I was talking about earlier, what I was interested in seeing. Team Envyus. Sometimes it's been NBK, sometimes it's been Kiyoshima, where they smoke Z. That prevents Team Immunity from pushing straight out, potentially getting into vents, taking the mid control. And it means they can leave one person under boost, so Team Immunity can't utilize boost. But it looks like the Aussies are going to try and assault this large array bomb site. All eyes by the sniper, and if NBK shows just a millimeter of skin, surely an AWP shot will land in his right chest.
He's getting very tagged down by that Molotov grenade, and he will fall to it in the end. So great placement there from Team Immunity, but Shoxy responds instantly with 3. Happy helping out as well, and Sniper now leaving himself the last one left alive will fall. Great round there for Shoxy, and again another strong Envyus hold, even with NBK getting taken down in the famous position named after him over towards Quad. It's not enough for Team Immunity, and just look at the money, look at the frags. It's all on the side of the French.
Good news is, because Team Immunity have lost so many consecutive rounds, they've still got a bit of money to work with, and let's bear in mind that these AK-47s are somewhat relatively cheaper than the M4. But it doesn't matter, because Envyus have tons of money, especially if Happy keeps getting frags like this. The Gfinity desk touched on it. Happy, of course, known to be the Envyus in-game leader, but it has now changed to Shox. And it'd be interesting to see how well he does on the T side of this map.
I agree, and it'll be interesting to see again how well Happy does and also how well Shox does when he's in that calling
It's
role.
because he's normally such an important entry fragger for example, so now he's calling, he has to focus on other things. So for some players, it degrades their game, but let's see what happens here with Kiyoshima in checkers.
He does spot out a couple of players there. Flashbang will go down, completely blinding Imagine, and the clock is ticking here. 48 seconds left on the clock to play with for Team Immunity. Still 9 players left alive. Sniper the only casualty so far. Kyo will peek round the corner, and that's Imagine down. Easy frag for him. Virtually no contesting whatsoever. He finds Ricky with the AWP there, and he tries to put some shots down. We'll tag him to 65. Shoxy's there to help, and he's still now left in a 1 versus 4.
Yeah, the main issue there, obviously Team Immunity, one of the players fell back, which left his teammate hiding in the corner where Stillo currently is, all by himself. And then the thing is, Kiyoshima, with such a free role, like normally, I'm sure he wouldn't take peeks like that up against the likes of Fnatic and co, because when he finds himself in those 1 versus 1 battles, you'd probably put money on him getting nailed in the head himself. So Team Immunity, I'd like to see more of a set play approach from them, maybe up the tempo a little bit, because at the moment they've not really penetrated any bomb site properly, and even when they have headed towards the A bomb site, I think it's twice now that they failed to check the corner where MBK and Happy normally hide.
It's been really predictable so far from Immunity.
Oh, no!
That being said, well, that is not a great way to do things. Justillo takes down his own player. MBK comes in to help out the case, as well as Shoxy will drop Justillo, and Sniper with the Tech 9 tries to do something. But if this map couldn't really get too much worse for them, a team kill in that fashion really didn't help them out again whatsoever. But is there any way back for Team Immunity in this half, well, in this map, kind of? I really don't think so. I know Team Envyus are on the stronger CT side, but it's not this CT-sided.
The thing is, it looked like he got flashed as soon as they had pushed straight out of mid, and I think he just continued to spam. Then he ended up going into that corner, and I think it was Astillo who nailed James with the Tech 9, but let's see. Team Immunity, they really need to start helping themselves to a frag or two. The AWPs are strong from Envyus, and it's Kiyoshima versus Astillo, and finally there is the first frag, there is the entry at mid, but Happy quick to return it, Smiths as well. This is what Envyus do, they're flowing with confidence at the moment. As soon as one of their players goes down, they go even more aggressive to ensure that they keep that man advantage. It's a joy to watch, and this is what Envyus are all about.
Trade frag simply going in favour of Team Envyus here, very much so. Ricky slightly gets tagged up by the Molotov grenade coming in towards his feet, but Team Immunity, for me, they've been very predictable. They've not really done anything to reinvent the wheel, which against a team like Envyus, when they are the real underdogs, is something that they needed to do. I know that is a lot easier said than done, but Team Envyus are used to these things that Team Immunity are doing. The only time they've ever really been caught off guard was when we saw Justillo push through to CT spawn, and then he was only able to pick up 1 frag, and instantly Envyus were on the case.
Well, Team Immunity, they're relying quite a lot on buying up the AWP, sending an AWPer towards A main, and relying on that A main player to get the entry frag onto, for example, someone hiding behind the red container or where MBK currently is. But the French side, they're not showing any flesh, and no flesh means the AWPer can't get the frag, and they're facing 1 versus 1 up against MBK here. Ricky should have probably peeked with Sniper. The good news is Sniper knows where he is, but with 10 seconds to go, and MBK in that great position knowing exactly where he is because of the Smith's death, it was always going to be an Envious round, and again, Team Immunity, AK's brought up. Let's see what other ideas they have under their belts.
Very tricky situation for Team Immunity to come back into the entire map already. Not the start that they would have wanted against Team Envious, and they can't let their heads drop here, kind of. Once again, I know that's easier said than done.
I'd like to see them, when they head towards A main, Molotov out the MBK spot. They should know by now that there's always, or the mass majority of the time, a player playing there. I can't remember the last time Happy or MBK weren't in that corner. Now they're moving out because of the smokes, but we probably are going to see a set piece onto A, or they might split it.
Well, they are making their presence known over towards mid. They're going to try and Molotov over towards sandbags, where in fact Kiyoshima is indeed. That grenade will tag him down to 60 HP, and Ricky finds his head there to get the entry frag. That's 2 in a row. James responds. Are Envyus going to fall here in this round? Maybe not. Maybe they will do. It's left in a 4 versus 2. All of the smoke grenades go down, a cluster of them, to try and do some good damage and prevent Team Envyus coming onto this B-bomb site. They've got yet to get the bomb down, which they do now do. MBK's going to get caught out over towards the fence area here. Will he find the frag? Imagine misses that, and he cannot do that.
He can't, and now they're going to know that MBK is going to be making his way in from this T-spawn side of the B-bomb site. Look, just patient play from MBK. Waiting for his teammate to rotate, and there are the 2 kills from the team from France. Retake confirmed, 13-1. And Team Envyus, even when it looked like it was a man in favor of Immunity, they had the bomb down on the B bomb site, they failed to hold on to it. And I hate to point fingers, but imagine they probably should have done better on towards MBK coming from the vents. Because imagine had the positional advantage and the AK-47.
If he had picked up that kill on MBK, that would have forced the other player. Was it Shox who had the AWP at the end?
And he probably would have fallen back to save it.
Yeah, it would have instantly forced him back to save it, unless Shox would have gone for some absolutely crazy play. But, well, have a look at this. Shoxy and Smith start things off. They're hiding and cuddling in the smoke and don't even realise it. Keo will get the better of it, though, as Sniper falls.
He's got the bomb as well.
Yeah, Ricky, the last one left alive in a 1 versus 4. This is going to be a 14-1 half here. Karnite, Team Immunity, I'm sorry to say, not looking too hot here on cash. Team Envyus, on the other hand, they've spent most of the afternoon asleep in the player lounge, and they've woken up now.
Yeah, they were just lying down. For anyone who hasn't seen the player lounge, I'm pretty sure a lot of players have posted pictures of it on Twitter. They have these awesome sort of leather-like bean bags.
Yeah, they're so comfortable.
Yeah, Smith was just sort of sat in the corner, like with his Envyus jacket on, just trying to stay nice and warm.
I tried to grab one earlier on, but I didn't want to disturb Shox, who was like fast asleep, so we had to like drag it away really slowly. But they are super comfortable. So Envyus have had a chilled-out afternoon so far, but they've come in hot and ready on this first map. Let's see if Team Immunity can at least take this pistol round here.
Yeah, I don't know what they've been feeding these Envyus guys. I tell you what, they've had a lot of Nandos this weekend, and whatever Envyus are employing against Team Immunity, they're most certainly not immune to it. I'll tell you that. They're going to mount an attack on towards this A-bomb site. It looks like it's going to be MBK to lead the charge, and he will get the frag. Shoxy, look at how confident he is. He's not waiting on the bomb site. He's going to take the CTs on head first, but this complacency could come back to haunt them.
It most certainly could, but then as soon as you say that, the caster's curse comes in, and out of nowhere, 3 one-tap headshots come in from the T's, and Sniper finds himself the last one left alive. And this is what Envyus do time and time again against this team, it seems. Even when they're left a couple of players down and they're getting tagged up and they could be in an awkward spot, they just seem to somehow pull it out with some crazy accuracy. 15-1 it is. Envyus now only 1 single point away from winning this first map here and confirming at least 1 point against the Australian Team Immunity squad.
Yeah, they don't really have much of a choice here, Team Immunity. It's do or die, quite literally. They're holding on to the final thread that they could potentially get this game. Estillo has opted to go for the scout. And Team Envyus pretty much here, Chewy, just repeating what they did last time round. Kiyoshima coming in with the MP7. Estillo got 1 frag, but Hello Imagine gets another. Smiths with the AK-47, but phenomenal play with the scout from Estillo. Sniper will pick up an AK-47 as well. And finally, Team Immunity with something to scream and shout about. And now, this will of course cripple Envyus's money, but let's be honest, Chewy, it's still an incredibly steep hill for Immunity to climb.
I don't think we can emphasize it enough. We don't really have to discuss it. The scoreboard alone said it at the top of the screen. A very long road back for Team Immunity, maybe just doing a bit of temporary damage here to the Team Envyus squad. They have forced them back down to those pistols though, so that's a good start, but already Ricky getting tagged down to only 4 points of health. That's a very good start to things. Shoxy's going to eat a grenade initially, but Yustillo gets 2 kills there. Keo does respond. Ricky still left alive on very minimal health. Well, that's Yustillo down as well. So actually, we're left in a 3 versus 3.
M4's mounted up against 2 Kalashnikovs, and Happy's P250, and that P250 goes to work. Happy coming in, looking to get the second frag. I'll tell you what, Ricky is on his last breath, and that breath is no more. James now to try and salvage this for Envyus. Bomb has been planted. He's completely surrounded. He gets the headshot, but Kiyoshima comes in. GG, ladies and gents. And even there where Immunity, you know, they had that advantage financially,
they can't take it.
They still couldn't take it. And Kiyoshima, the guys at the Gfinity desk, mentioned how consistent he's been recently, how strong he's been, and again, there he was at the top of the scoreboard.
Yeah, I know it's not all about frag count, but The scoreboard, looking at the frags, the Team Envyus squad had a consistent good number throughout.
Yeah,
they all contributed in their way. Whilst on the other hand, Team Immunity, none of them had over 10 frags. None of them even hit double-figure frags, which is evident, obviously, when you only pick up 2 rounds. But in the grand scheme of things, I believe this was their map choice. So I know it's Envyus versus Immunity, which is a big difference. We can't even deny that. But only getting 2 rounds on your map choice, that's a difficult one. We talked about how they were left in an awkward predicament with the veto system still, but if it's a 16-2 score on Cash and now we're going into Dust 2 for Envyus, I dread to think what the score could potentially be there.
Well, you know me, I like to stay positive.
Yeah, you've got to.
Believe in Immunity.
You've got to believe.
Obviously, honestly, yesterday when they played on Mirage against Titan, I honestly thought they'd be able to do it. But anyways, guys, we're going to cut to a break.
Yes, we are indeed. We'll be back in a few minutes' time with map number 2. Don't go anywhere. Envyus versus Immunity on Dust 2, right when we come back.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Gfinity Arena. My name is Kyanite. Alongside me is...
Chewy!
Yep,
unfortunately for you all.
Yeah, unfortunately for us.
You
Yeah,
as
I mean,
well.
Imagine
Sorry.
how I feel after the length of time I've been in the same room as him.
Drawn the short straw, think how he feels. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. But anyways, we've got DDoS 2 coming up. Unfortunately, Cash was a stomp between Envyus and Immunity. DDoS 2, what do you think?
I think it's going to be, in all honesty, another stomp. I don't want to take it away from Immunity, but this is Envyus on Dust 2. They make a lot of good teams look pretty amateur on it, let alone a team that they've just stomped 16-2 on Cash. And
DreamHack Winter Champions
so,
after Fnatic.
I mean, what are your thoughts on the map?
Well, one thing I want to keep an eye out for, because I haven't kept much track of DDoS 2 recently, but obviously one of the recent updates was they opened the skybox between short and long. And MBK actually mentioned it on Twitter, so shout out to MBK. And obviously a lot of this Envyus lineup come from CS Source. And back in CS Source, and before all the CS Source haters in Twitch chat, back in CS Source, it was a large part of the tactical game on DDoS 2, where in order to get long or short control, in theory you only had to get control of either short or long. And then, for example, if you get men on short by smoking mid and pushing up cat, with one guy lower, for example, as soon as you have that man on short, you can then regroup outside of long, and then that guy on short can then flash the long guys over from short. You know what I mean? But after the skybox change, even after MBK mentioning it on Twitter and saying, oh, all the sources are going to start using this, I don't actually think we've seen many teams utilize it. Definitely nowhere near as much as like Very Games, for example, which consisted of Shox and MBK from this lineup back in Source. Well,
we will see if they do utilize it as we go into the second map, which, as you can see on your screens, will be Dust 2 indeed, one of Envyus's favorite. And Team Immunity obviously didn't want to veto it away from them, but it's going to be a very tricky uphill task. And I hate to say it, but you've got to wonder now whether Immunity are in this game. Obviously, they know that they can only get a point, but with all things considered, you've got to wonder whether they are just in this game to try and get some experience out of this and to see what they can learn from Envyus here on this map. I don't want to count them out that early. That is really unfair, but we've got to be brutally honest at the same time, if that makes sense.
You see, the thing is, Team Envyus, especially when they're on the CT side, Smiths is a monster trying to hold mid with his AWP. And if Immunity are going to stand any chance on this T side, they've got it, in my opinion. Obviously, with mid being so crucial as well on DDoS 2, because it gives you another gateway into B and allows you to get short control to hit A. They've got to be able to put a halt to Smiths and his antics with the AWP. So let's wait and see who wins the knife round and see what team they all pick.
Yeah, I don't do play-by-play of a knife round, but I think Justillo actually killed his own player there for a second. But, I mean, talking about the T-strats then, if you want to go into that for a bit more detail with Team Immunity, I said that I thought they were a bit too predictable on their T side on Cash. Coming up, if they are going to stay on the... they are going to stay on the T side of Dust 2 here. What have they got to do to try and maybe be unpredictable or to catch Envyus out to try and take some rounds away off these guys?
Well, most importantly, I think Team Envyus could very well come into this game with a little bit of complacency. So, obviously, with so much confidence based off of what happened on Cash. So, Team Immunity, I'd like to see them take it slow, sort of split and pick, make sure there's always someone watching the flank, and wait for Envyus to potentially come for them for the first few seconds, see whether that complacency kicks in. If not, then decide to execute.
Well, we are live with round number 1 of the second map between Team Envyus and Team Immunity here. Dust 2, it will be 4 players with armor from Team Envyus and 4 players from Team Immunity with armor as well as they make their way out towards mid. But Shoxy, oh my gosh, that was a nice starting kill.
Yeah, great P2000 work from Shoxy Jesus. Maybe Jesus himself would have been proud of that shot, and I tell you what, he'll be proud of the rest of these shots as well. Team Envyus, great players always.
Well, this is the thing, they're so patient and then suddenly they just completely erupt havoc, and domination on the enemy team.
Just one taps to the face. Amazing counter-strike.
They make it look so easy. I wish I could do those kind of things in game. This is why I'm a caster and not a player, because I could never even dream of doing those things. But Team Envyus, they're looking strong already, and they will reward themselves now with buying a few upgraded weapons. So one FAMAS in the hands of Shoxy, but SMGs all round elsewhere.
You know what they say, Chewy? Practice makes perfect.
But a lot of practice, mate.
Shoxy with the FAMAS. He did spot one of the Aussies heading towards Sniper's Alley, and that Aussie was, in fact, Ricky. The mass majority of the Aussies going towards upper tunnels, now towards lower. And I wonder whether we're going to see maybe potentially a mid to B execute here. But they don't have a smoke for CT spawn, so they could just be taking their time and then maybe put all their eggs in one basket and push straight out of short.
Well, let's see if Kiyoshima pushes through this smoke actually over towards B tunnels. I think he may be wanting to, but they've got that cat control now, and they're going to try and push their way through, potentially. Rikke here up on that area, but Shoxy holding down mid very well. Will spot one player, and that's the first kill in the round. Now we can see them making their entrance up there. The bombs are actually there, and I think one player dropped down over towards CT, which was Ustillo, but he drops. Kiyoshima takes down James, and Sniper in lower tunnels will try and do some economical damage. Won't happen. 2-0 to Envyus.
Yeah, that really was a redundant round for Team Immunity, because Team Immunity, they didn't plant on the first initial round. So normally you'd expect them to go, for example, Tech 9 armor, push somewhere and hope for the best. But they didn't buy up, interestingly enough. And now, again, they've got to settle with pistols, which probably means that come round number 4, where they are going to invest in the big bad weapons that they'll get, they want to invest fully. They want to make sure they've got as many grenades as possible.
Well, that's the Desert
maybe
Eagle
even an AWP.
Down. Yeah. He will fall, but James will drop as well as Smith picks up 2 very easy frags. Well, no, actually, MBK took 1 there, so frags all round for the Envyus squad, and Rikke once again now the last one left alive. He's picked up the Deagle, dropped off Imagine, and as I said, he's just going to try and do some economical damage here, which is what they tried to do in the last round, but it will not happen. With 3 rounds in, kinda, and not a single Team Envyus player has died.
Nope, and Team Envyus, of course, because like you said, they didn't die, they will probably now swap out some of those submachine guns for M4s regardless. And of course, there is the AWP from Ricky, which was what Team Immunity was saving up for. He failed to tag anyone through the doors, but Envyus putting 3 people on this smaller B bomb site to start things off. Maybe they were expecting a push straight in.
Shoxy eats a grenade to the face and is knocked down to 35 points of health, as we now see that bomb making its way down towards lower tunnels, playing very passive over towards mid. Kiyoshima just in those double doors over towards B, holding it and peeking around to see what he can find, and we can see the map overview now. Sniper over towards long, just making sure MBK won't push through.
We're normally used to seeing Smiths holding mid, but because of how mid-heavy Team Immunity have been playing, what they're doing is they're holding mid and double doors or B ramp by putting 3 players in B, and then Smiths is going to play the old rattlesnake position from Source, where he hides at the car, waits for the terrorist to push out a short, and then tries to hit his AWP shots as they come across. But look at these beautiful smokes. Hopefully they are going to shield the Aussies, but not on Smith's watch. Great shot with the big green gun.
That was a huge opening kill, as Sniper will get caught out by NBK, who will get the frag. Sniper wins it, and that is big. The bomb has been planted, and what will Team Envyus do here to try and retake this site? 3-0 is still the score, but it's 1-for-1 trades left in a 3 versus 3 now. And that bomb is still planted, and it's obviously planted for short here, as we can see this lovely little boost over the top of the smoke here, as Ricky actually spotted them. He gets fully flashed up, and somebody's already on the defuse. Have they even noticed it? They will now. He picks off the shot, but will it be enough? The clock is ticking, and that was an absolutely crucial shot for Ricky to take.
Yeah, and Sniper knew that Shoxy was going to pick up that AWP Dragon Law and prevented him from saving it, even over his own dead body. In all honesty, Envyus' setup there that round worked very much in Immunity's favour. But regardless, it shows that they've done their homework on this map. The smokes that rained down on the A bomb site, it covered all the crucial spots. We saw how Smiths had to readjust his position from the car with the AWP, and as a result of losing that round, it now means he doesn't have the big sniper rifle in his hands. It's an all-rifle setup from Envyus.
Into the next round, and we do see 2 Galils here, so obviously the economy, even after winning that round, not too great for Team Immunity. They did take a lot of damage, and they don't have any AWPs. Neither do Team Envyus, though, here. And that's a good way to come back into it. That was a really important round already, just in the early stages to take, because they lost so many in cash, obviously, and then giving Envy 3 rounds in a row without taking a single kill. They've got to, in some respects, be dejected. So then to take that round and do it so in a really cool way at the end there with that nice sniper shot on the bomb diffuser. That's good for Team Immunity.
This play from Envyus is, especially on the CT side, is so passive in comparison to what they're used to, but Osteo is going to wait for them. The pop flash went in towards upper tunnels. The mid to B push will come in, but it's not going to matter. The bomb has been lost in upper tunnels. Shoxy with one, MBK with another, but imagine now, in a 1 versus 3, and Chewy, this might be one step too many for the Aussie. He had to even pick up the bomb after that firefight. And it's not going to even matter because Smith's won that 1v1.
And look at their economy now. Absolutely broken, as far down as it can possibly go here, pretty much. They've got nothing on board.
The lack of plants for immunity, bar that round where they managed to push off short, is one of the reasons why their economy is so low. And on this round here, they're playing only with Glocks because they've got so little money. But honestly, a plant in this case, because they probably will lose the round and get that extra $800 each, would do them such a world of good at this point. Because at this rate, they might even have to force buy Galils, and they'll have a significant lack of nades come the next round.
Envyus with a good start, though, as you would expect from them. And let's have a look at their setup here. We've got Shoxy ready to pop flash himself out into mid if needed, which is what he will do now. He peeks around the corner, will not find anybody initially here. One player, which I believe is Kiyoshima, playing passively right at the back of that B-bomb site. Smith's here looking over towards short as Kiyo starts things off. That sniper down for the count. This is, of course, just an eco round coming in here for Team Immunity, and it is a hail of gunfire onto those Australian players as Ricker now will fall. Another round for Team Envyus here, and they are looking really confident.
It was really similar to what we saw Team Immunity do a lot of the time on Cash on their eco rounds. When you only have those pistols, again, you've got to try and prioritize the plant, and you don't want to end up in 1 versus 1 battle up against a rifle. And unfortunately, with Team Immunity jumping off short and taking on a battle at long 1 by 1, they just fell like flies. So, like I said the buy was going to be tight for them come this round. They've only got Tech 9s, and you know what? They're going to run straight into the crosshair of Kiyoshima. Far too easy. Like you said earlier on, he spent the entire day sleeping, and I bet you what, he's definitely woken up.
They do get one frag onto Smith. Happy not very low, but he's going to take the gunfight anyway. Will fall to the hands of Ricky. Now leaving things in the 3 versus 2, but look at Shoxy on the flank. I think Ricky knows that he's here actually, but he will peek round the corner, get the headshot instantly, and challenges that last player in James as well, who's still alive, but will fall once again to NBK here. So, I mean, this is a difficult one because we want to see Team Immunity do well, but they're just, again, not really trying to reinvent the wheel. It's a lot of standard stuff that they're doing so far, nothing really too crazy, and Envyus are reading them like an open book. Yeah,
finally the financial bonus has kicked in for Team Immunity. That's why Ricky has an AWP. I think he should have spotted that 3 cross, and obviously he will call that, but Envyus, as we see them do time after time again, they love boosting a player there to catch the mid guys out. And Happy just so quickly getting that frag to leave his team 1 man up. And Team Immunity, they've got to be the ones going aggressive to find the early frag. Because not only does it physically give you that early frag and gives you the numerical advantage, but it can play mind games on you as well. When you invest so much into a round like Team Immunity just did, and you lose not 1 but 2 men so early on, you just find yourself in one heck of a pickle. You just don't know what to do.
Stilo tries to enter things up onto that large array bomb site as he does pick up 1 kill there onto Happy, but will it be enough? I'm not too sure. That bomb's still over towards the lower B tunnels area, and I believe Shoxy could be holding a good position just in case once again they do push out through mid, but Smith actually misses a shot, rare for him, but he did spot that player and got some good information. Flash grenade comes out and he jumps over the top of the box to see if he can see just over the top of that smoke as well. But things slow down a tiny bit here.
Yeah, all the Team Immunity players are going to be making their way on towards the A bomb site with just under 30 seconds to go to try and plant this bomb. Smith's the last line of defense. MBK, however, the backup has come in, but Estillo, he got the headshot there. He had 1 CT underneath him. Maybe if he just wasn't so close to the edge of the bomb site, he may have been able to sneak a plant and maybe even won that round because one of the CTs was so low on HP. But Team Immunity, they're in that situation. The issue was they didn't have enough time to rotate 1 person round long. When you hit the A bomb site, you want to give the CTs, especially a lone AWP like that in Smiths, more than 1 side to worry about. You've got to try and surround him. And when you run towards an AWPer, just coming from the same area, then there's only going to be one outcome, especially when that AWPer you're up against is Smiths.
Ustilo with the nice frag onto Happy with that Tech 9 in hand, but they are severely outclassed in the weaponry in this round. Ustilo has been able to pick up that M4 that he dropped away from Happy, but he's not going to be able to do too much here, I reckon. He has got the bomb to try and work with, and he will make his way out of mid, or will he not? He knows that Kiyoshima is right around the corner. They have spotted each other. Now Shoxy comes in to help out his fellow compatriot. Ustilo will fall. Once again, another round for Envyus. This is just almost too easy.
Well, Team Immunity, they pulled out quite literally the big guns now. They tried the single AWP setup. They couldn't get any frags with it. And now they've resorted to the double AWP setup. James, obviously we don't like to point players out, failing to get a frag just yet. Ricky going for the pick at mid, but he's not even managed to tag one of the Envyus players trying to cross. But come on, Immunity, we know what they're capable of, and that is what James is capable of. It's going to be his first frag of the game so far, but here, imagine, he can't afford to give this frag back to MBK. Team Immunity, they've got to use this in their favor, use this man advantage. I want to see him kick on. Come on, let's get your second round on the board, Immunity.
That double AWP setup still going strong initially here, but will it prevail? We will see. As James tries to find some more information, and there we go. It seems so far as MBK gets caught out at long, and now they're going to make their entrance there by the looks of things. Although Smith with a great flash will find one. Will he find the second? No, he will not. We're now left in a 4 versus 2, but it's Happy and Shox to do the damage. Let's see if Team Immunity can make this entrance, but they've actually backtracked, made their way over towards B tunnels, and got through there. Shox is going to try and find some great information, sprays down over towards Imagine, and will find the kill. But I think the game is up here for Team Immunity. Happy and Shox know they're going over towards B. Or do they?
What they've done really well is Sniper's gone onto the A bomb site and he fired at those Envious players at mid. So now Shoxy is ready to hit the A bomb site from short. Happy is rotated all the way to long. And Sniper here, all he has to do is hide behind these boxes, try and hold them here, make Envious think it is going to be an A bomb site plant. And now Shoxy has found out that it is going to be B bomb site plant. Great plant. And to no surprise, it's planted for tunnels. James will head towards tunnels here with the AWP just in case Ustilo falls to his death. James will be able to peek out with the AWP and stop the defuse, but still Happy on the AWP, a very difficult retake.
And Shoxy's low, only on 24 points of health, but he makes the entrance anyway, completely uncontested here. James will get that first frag behind the box there, but Shoxy responds. It will not be enough though. They hold on to the site just about. James gets the kill, and Ulkanite, even though they took a lot of damage, the double AWP setup worked well. They got those 2 initial entry frags into the round with those AWPs.
Well, when you get the entry frag, you spread out your opponent's defense.
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, they can cover a lot less ground. So for example, one thing Team Immunity did really well there is they knew Smiths was playing long with his AWP, and even though Smiths got a frag with his AWP, what was important for Immunity was that they returned it. And once it's 2 versus 2, once it's 3 versus 3, that actually favors the T. So it was a perfect approach from Team Immunity. And again, a pat on the back to James over towards the B bomb site for getting that first frag.
After winning that last round, they will be able to buy up AK-47s once again here, and Ricky able to retrieve that AWP. Well, James retrieved it for him, obviously, but he picked it up, and giving their initial presence over towards Catwalk near A once again here. And we can see the rotation coming in, but look at Kiyoshima's position. He's pushed right through B tunnels. The game is already up here for Team Immunity. They know exactly what is coming simply because Kiyoshima has been able to find so much information.
Exactly, and that's why a player like GetRight in the flanker role, holding on the other side of the map or Happy, is so important. And all of the Envyus boys, all the boys in blue, quite literally on the CT side, have rotated round. Sniper now in one heck of a pickle. He's only on 2 HP. And you'd expect MBK to deal with him. And you know what, Chewy? He does. 9-2.
I don't use this term often, but it was target practice there for Team Envyus. They knew exactly where they were coming from. It was so obvious what was going to happen, and they just picked them off one by one.
Unfortunately, it was just incorrect fundamentals. And again, it's just why that lurker role, someone preventing the CTs pushing up tunnels on the other side of the map is so important. And it could have been an easy frag for Immunity, you know, because they did have the AK-47s if the CT did push tunnels. Well,
their economy has been reset here, which is exactly the thing they did not want to happen. Shoxy in the right-hand side here will pick up 3. Easy spray down for him. No trouble whatsoever. Team Envyus move themselves onto double figures on Dust 2 here. And once again, the Team Immunity money is pretty shocking. They've really not got too much to play with. It looks like they're going to force in some respects. And Deagle Armor on Ricky, a couple of Tech 9s elsewhere, but really, once again, not too much else to play with. And Envyus steamrolling on Dust 2, just like they did on Cash.
Look at this. Happy going aggressive in lower tunnels with that M4, and he'll definitely know they're there. He'll be calling this to his teammates. The question at hand is James going to be prepared for it? No, he isn't. But at least this other terrorist knew he was there. But again, with only pistols up against a player of Happy's qualities, Chewy, you just can't get them frags onto him when he's got that M4.
And all the best that Team Immunity can hope for here is a bit of economical damage over towards Team Envyus, and Smith will fall, but in the grand scheme of things, Envyus have got so many rounds on the board here, it's not really going to do too much damage towards them. The sniper drops, and okay, the last one left alive though. Nice one dig onto NBK, and he will pick up an M4 for his troubles, but it's surely just a matter of time before he gets shut down here, and he just knows they're going to be behind him. He's so cautious of this.
At the moment, it's a guessing game. Are 2 behind me towards T-Spawn, or are 2 behind me towards Long? Because there, he was just trying to hold out, see if he could get any more frags. And maybe if he had gotten a frag onto the side where there was only 1 CT, he may have been able to, of course, pick up his weapon and run away with it. But it just wasn't meant to be in that case. And the thing is, again, like we mentioned, the lack of a lurker, which was essentially what left Team Immunity in a pickle financially. There, we saw Sniper unfortunately push out along, and he didn't check behind the door and stuff like that. Mistakes like that, Chewy, just little mistakes, especially against Envyus, you can't afford to make.
Smith with a great return back onto Ustillo initially after NBK does fall at the start of this 14th round, and James has now managed to get himself into pit here. He did get that entry flag, I do believe, onto NBK over towards Long. And we can see the bomb stacked up in mid initially. Happy going to try and delay things over towards Cap. Flashes his way out and he's rewarded for it. Not only does he pick up the kill, he finds the bomb.
He does. Shoxy with the Kalashnikov at mid. He spotted the Team Immunity player just behind Xbox. He most certainly has, and he's taken his cranium off as well. Ricky fails to land that shot, finally gets one onto Kiyoshima. He's got one more, but he can't get the flick. But this is still 2 versus 1. If James can drop Happy, which he can, he might be able to just about salvage something. The issue here is, we looked at it at the Gfinity desk. Shoxy has an 80-odd+% 1 versus 1 ratio of winning these 1v1s. Can James put an end to that? And he can! 11-3 headshot coming in from James. Shoxy, he had the bomb. He didn't even need to flash and push there. And he just ran into the crosshair of James, who dodged the flash. And Team Immunity, come on, let's make it 11-4.
They've picked up more rounds so far in this half than they did in the first map. So that's an improvement which they can look into. But Team Envyus are still looking strong. Great cuts there from James. Nice work from him to be able to take down Shox and just lower that 1v1 stat very slightly indeed.
What worries me is the Team Envyus player will have spotted Osteel going towards mid, and yeah, Smiths was prepared. Shox, like the last round, is going to be the man to hold the double doors, and Happy again on short. It's him versus a jumping scout. There was always going to be one winner there, and let's see whether James can clutch yet again. He most certainly is in the mood to do so. He needs to pick up this bomb though.
This is the sort of thing that Team Immunity need to do. They need a player like James to start fragging these kind of things and trying his very best to put it back in their favor, just to give them some form of motivation. In the end, it's not going to be enough. Smiths will get the final kill, and you can see Envyus there, the professionals that they are, just calm, collected, ready to go to finish off this series.
I love how Kiyoshima was just sort of like biting his nails, like
without
a care in the world. But again, that's what Envyus are built on. Confidence. They love playing aggressive Counter-Strike, especially constricting their opponents. A very aggressive style of play, very much similar to Virtus Pro.
Plow, yeah. I've done that before, it's not the first time.
This is a good start though.
Shoxy down, the man who did so good in that pistol round earlier on, and his entry frag gets entry frag back to him, but Happy will respond on to Ustillo and tries to challenge that next player, but he's left on 24 points of health, so he's got to be careful and backs away. Kiyoshima pushing through the smoke. Will he be punished for it by James? Maybe so. The Smiths will fall there, and I think the bomb may have actually dropped.
That was so unlucky. That was so unlucky. But Envyus now, they could potentially salvage it, Chewy, but they've got to push it together. They've got to make sure that they outnumber these Team Immunity players, and maybe, here we go, send NBK going through double doors as well.
They know exactly where that bomb is. All players left on the server in this round. NBK finds one. Ricky knows exactly where he is, and Ricky will get tagged down. Happy still left on 24 points of health, so this is still workable here for Team Immunity, and they are playing the clock down, but that's difficult for James. 17 points of health left for him, and this is surely going to be a matter of time before they can try and do something here. There we go. Kirishima drops down just when needed to, and MBK will finish things off. So this is the thing with Team Envyus. No matter who they're up against, they don't get phased over these kinds of things when the bomb gets dropped down like that. They just reposition and work with it.
It's not just repositioning, it's being incredibly intelligent and great communication as well. So like I said, I wanted to see one more person rotate around double doors, and that's what we saw with MBK. And him rotating around double doors, he acted as a distraction for the guy in CT spawn. So he acted as a distraction for a little bit. The guy who was on B ramp had to fall back to try and stay alive from MBK, and as a result of that, it then allowed Kirishima to drop down to CT spawn, and basically they ended up isolating both battles into simple 1 versus 1s. The guy in CT spawn ended up in a 2 versus 1, he was the lone man, and of course he went down, he was outnumbered, and then they took on the B guy 3 versus 1. And Team Immunity, they just got overthrown there in the B bomb site, and again, they just didn't have the firepower. Sniper now, he'll pick up this scout, and if he saves it, then happy days.
We did see an aggressive push up mid from Team Immunity from short at the start of this round to try and do some damage, but it wasn't enough, and now Sniper left on 1 HP is going to try and salvage this. Scout running away for his dear life here, but there's actually a player making their way up through the tunnels, and he will be found surely in just a few seconds time. And there we go, MBK takes off his head. 14-3 is the score. Team Envyus looking very strong indeed, and this is the kind of thing for them that is going to be great in the grand scheme of things, with more games to play and these group stages now, you know, continuing on after this game. I think we'll be halfway through this day's gameplay, 3 out of 6 games in total. Team Envyus are going to be in a great spot because this has been a relatively easy game. They've not had to play too much, only giving up a couple of rounds, and that just gives them more time to relax and get ready and set up for the next match.
Yeah, try and clear their heads, make sure that they're nice and fresh going into their next game. And as for the CT setup here, pretty standard. Team Immunity, 2 players holding long, but Envyus, they had success on the B bomb site last time round. And they're heading and stampeding straight towards the B bomb site. This time round, clattering the CTs in there. It leaves them trying to rotate. Happy hiding behind the wall. Catches the rotator. Might make it a double. He most certainly will. What a player. And now Sniper, the in-game leader, quite simply stuck between a rock and a very, very hard place with that FAMAS. 15-3.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy for Team Envyus, and look at the money for Team Immunity. They've got to buy every single thing they can simply because this is not only map point but match point here for Team Envyus.
One of the main issues as well, not even here on just on Dust 2, but on Cash as well, Team Immunity, a lot of the time the players, when they find themselves in a situation where they should get a frag, in theory, in a 1 versus 1 battle, for example. Obviously you can't do it every time, but you've got to have a somewhat high success ratio in doing that. The mass majority of the time they end up losing it, and it could be down to the quality aim on these Envyus players, which obviously I'm sure most Counter-Strike spectators won't need an introduction to. And I think if anyone's new to the game, they most certainly will need an introduction to the Flying Mag 7.
The Flying Mag 7 from Imagine there will do some parting damage to Shoxy, but it may be all she wrote here for the squad. They have planted the bomb of Team Envyus and a scout and a Mag 7 to try and retake this, and there we go. Sniper with the sniper in hand to try and do some damage. But I don't think it's going to be enough.
Let's not forget he can jump with it, but that bomb is ticking, and he has to go for this. But Team Envyus playing this perfectly. They're not even peeking him. And now, look, they probably are going to peek him once the bomb's about to go out, but they're going to peek him together. And there it is, 16-3, the exact same score we saw on Cash. And I hate to say it, but just Team Envyus there were just about 10 levels above Team Immunity. But the thing is, Team Immunity, like when I was casting the Titan game with Semler yesterday, we said, look, Team Immunity, regardless of what happens, this, after Face It, is their second proper EU LAN. Well, actually, no, their third, because they were at DreamHack Tour. So they can go back home, go back down under with these demos, sit back together, perhaps congregate at a boot camp or something, look at the demos and figure out what went wrong. A lot went wrong on Cash, and a lot went wrong certainly on DDoS too. But hey, they played against one of the best teams in the world. No hard feelings. They've still got more games to play in the group. Go home, analyze the demos, figure out what went wrong, and then just continue to improve.
They've got to pick their heads up here. They looked pretty dejected in the booths just very quickly when we cut to a quick camera shot of them there, and they didn't look happy. Obviously, no matter who you're playing up against, losing, I think the first map was 16-2 actually, and then the second was 16-3, so only getting 5 rounds or so in total across 2 maps, no matter who you're playing up against, as a team at these kind of, you know, big tournaments, they're going to be very disappointed with that result, but they've got to pick their head up.
Look
They've
at the
got
positives.
to try and look at the positives and find what they are and work with it and see, you know, if they can do better next time they do face up against an opponent of this style. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for them today here. Envyus moving on strong, very much indeed. And they're looking, I have to say, I know it's still group stages, but they're looking pretty darn strong to maybe potentially take a second Gfinity title in a row.
Well, I think it was Richard on the Gfinity desk who actually put them down as his favourite to win the event. Yeah. But anyways, talking about Richard, let's head straight back to the Gfinity desk with Scoots, Richard, and the one and only Thorin.
He could barely bring himself to say your name, and you've traumatized him.
Thorinists of the world
He's
unite.
Thorinist.
I told you. This brutal. This would be such a traumatic beatdown that they'd be like, "Are we even a CS team? Do we play like COD or something? What's going on here?"
Oh, and there is a thread on Half-Life TV asking if you are a Thorinist, and it's everyone's a Thorinist. It seems it's amazing.
People are mobilizing, unifying. It's
mobilizing.
It's terrifying.
So, I mean, let's talk about it. Again, it's kind of as you guys said, it was going to be an incredibly difficult match for Immunity, and it showed 16-2, 16-3, right? So,
I think the hilarious thing is I'm watching Team Immunity's reactions while they're getting this absolute pasting, and perhaps one of the most obvious imbalances between the two teams, and they're like shaking their heads like, we've really let ourselves down here. It is Envyus, guys.
Yeah.
And you are Immunity, like, you know.
And those are the maps.
Yeah, yeah.
The two best maps.
Yeah, you literally are playing them on their maps as well. Like, it was always going to be an uphill struggle. So I don't know what they're disappointed about. You can't really learn anything from a game like that. You know, these are just the kind of experiences you will go through until you sort of ascend to the same level as an Envyus. So I don't think they should be too hard on themselves. That was never going to be a winnable game. That was never the sort of game you should be looking at and saying, we can take a map here. Yeah.
No, I mean, when the casters were saying there, like the line about, you know, like take these demos, sit around, congregate, study them. I wouldn't study those two that much. No. At least not if you want to ever play CS again. The other demos you had, you had rounds there. I mean, obviously they almost beat Titan, so that was really good. This particular game here, like I said, Envyus' level, their guys were just styling on them. They were incredibly skilled. Almost no one in Envyus had a bad game. It was just too easy for them. I don't really blame the Immunity guys. There's not much they did wrong there.
Not at all.
Not good maps for them. Yeah, everything just went wrong, basically.
Yeah, and again, if you look at kind of by the numbers, if you will, that gives, you know, Envyus 9 points. They've taken 3 points on every one of their matchups, and they got one more match, which we will do next. It's going to be them versus Virtus Pro. So even if they were to, you know, lose both those, they're still sitting at 9. Virtus would have to win. Again, they'd have to 2-0 and beat Immunity to tie them with 9. Yeah. And Titans only got one more match left against Cloud9. Again, we might end up with a double tie
situation. Look at that round difference.
Yeah, and then it goes to round difference. And I know people were asking online, so I did check the rules out, because, again, we're getting close to the end of this. So we might have a few ties, especially in Group A. So the first tiebreaker is true head-to-head of the two teams that are tied in points. Okay. Then it, obviously, if those teams 1-1 and they split their actual matchup, it goes to the overall round difference of those two teams and the matchups, right? And then it falls to the head-to-head round wins. Right. So overall group rounds, you and me, group, you know, how we did against each other.
The chances of it coming down to that third criteria are very, very slim.
Yeah.
But but like, you know, look, to get back to Group B, I mean, Envyus have just proven that they are, you know, heads and shoulders above the other people in there right now. And that's very good for them, because they've had some slow starts in recent tournaments. So they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. And that's a great warm-up game for them today. I mean, ultimately, that's what that was for them. They went through the motions. They did this humiliating defeat that Duncan was talking about. And they're primed now for the game that really matters.
I mean, it's like I mentioned, they've never, with this lineup, failed to make the top 4 of a tournament. So to beat them, you have to be not only one of the best teams, but playing your best CS. So even if Immunity had brought their absolute A game, okay, they could have got rounds, but it's very unlikely they'd have even won a map, unfortunately. That's just how good Envyus is.
All right. Well, we've got James standing by, and he's got Happy from Envyus. Take it away, James.
Thank you, Scooch. Yes, I am joined by Happy, the man who is always smiling right now, and no reason to doubt why he is so happy. 2-0, 2-0, and 2-0 so far. You guys are completely dominating, and you've only got Virtus Pro to face, but we'll come back to that in a bit. Immunity got absolutely demolished. 16-2, 16-3. How easy was that really? Because you guys just made it look just flawless.
Yeah, to be honest, it was. I won't lie, it was easy because like just before the LAN, we switched to in-game leaders. You know, Shox is leading now, and like it gave us a really big boost of motivation. So right now we are just like playing really good and making little mistakes.
And it's really showing in your play though. Like absolutely brilliant play so far. 2-0 throughout. Now you've only got to come up against Virtus Pro. What are your thoughts and feelings on that really? Because obviously it's such a strong team. Are you confident that you can go for the same style and that it's just going to work?
We'll play the same, but I was a bit surprised that Titan beat them like 2-0. Yeah. So with this Virtus Pro, you never know. Like they can be really good, really bad. We just see.
Now, obviously, you guys won the first Gfinity Spring Masters. How confident are you guys feeling right now to kind of make that maybe a second time?
It would mean a lot to us, I think. Like when we won SLTV twice in a row, we were really happy. So obviously, we want to achieve that again.
Now, I want to kind of get your thoughts and opinions on the other group at the moment, because it's really tied. Like Fnatic, they drew against NIP, and then they also drew against the Australians as well, and that seems like a much tighter group. Are you kind of hoping that maybe one of the Australian teams go through, or are you guys not really bothered who you're going to have to face?
We talk about it a little bit, and we said like no matter what opponent we get, we need to beat everyone to win the championship. So no matter what happens, we will play and play the same as today and yesterday.
Okay. Now, looking at your group as well, you've got Titan in there. Obviously, a team that you play a lot back and forth. Do you reckon their chances are to advance with yourselves, or who do you think is going to go?
Before the LAN, I would have said Virtus Pro would go through, but right now I think, yeah, Titan got big chances to win.
Well, there's not too much to say after such a crushing defeat of Immunity there. So I will let you go on and enjoy. Before your next game, we're going to send it straight back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, James. Again, like he said, pretty standard, pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
nice
there's nothing really for us to talk about in terms of that game. Envyus as well. I mean, what have they learned about it? That was a training game, a practice game. I mean, fair play to Happy, because you know a lot of in this situation, in our PR-friendly times, you know, you will get teams and coming along, and they've had these like, really ridiculously easy one-sided games, and they're going, oh well, you know, we had to really work hard. And, no,
well, Rich, I'll do it for them, okay? So we had the Days joke before about Adren buying the AWP being basically a $5,000 decoy grenade. You know, guys, like Valve actually programmed bots into CS. You don't need to fly them all the way from the other side of the world.
Oh,
all right, I'll give you that one.
It's pretty expensive. It's like, what, 10 grand for bots?
Just 1 second. Oh, actually, can I borrow your Reddit account? So I can just make the hate thread now for you. Yeah.
I think
Darren is going too far.
I mean, I think the one thing that Immunity can take it away is like if you don't travel and you don't play these guys, you'll never have a chance against them. So yes, they got thumped, but out of getting thumped, you kind of lick your wounds and you figure out
of course. But
what you can do.
Look, there are teams in the group they can be competitive with. As we already said, they should have took a map off Titan. They should have done it. They're the demos you're going to go back and review. They're the experiences you're going to learn from. You're not even ready to even comprehend challenging the likes of Envyus. And sure, obviously, you've got to go into a game with perhaps a modicum of self-belief, but you've also got to be a realist. Part of being an effective team is knowing your limits as well as daring to dream. Sure. And I don't think people realise that a lot of the time. So I'm hoping Immunity have that sort of based, you know, approach to it, because there is no point in beating yourself up about getting 16-2'd by Envyus. That's going to happen 99 times out of 100.
I mean, the thing is, listen, Immunity have been in Europe, so maybe they've even practiced Envyus. Yeah. I'm sure in practice, Envyus doesn't do this to them every time. I'm sure they have close games. Maybe they even can take a map. But actually, in a weird way, you can learn something from this, which is I sometimes actually feel sorry for the underdog teams who come and the team who's like the big favorite don't try that hard, but they win just comfortably enough, like by 8 or 9 rounds, and they think, oh, well, we got some rounds, and if those other ones had gone differently. No, actually, it's a good lesson to know that when they're on their game, their A game, even your A game, which that probably wasn't from Immunity, probably wouldn't be enough anyway. Like, what that teaches you is what the NA teams are having to learn, which is like when you play against these opponents, if they have just better players than you, then if you do stupid mistakes that you peak too often, or you try to take 1v1 duels, you'll get utterly smashed. You'll have no chance. So at the moment, if you can't match them player-wise in terms of raw skill, then you're going to have to work on your tactics, your team play. You're going to have to get all of that phenomenally down, and anti-strat, all that. Because that's stuff you can work on. That's something you can go and work on right now, regardless of how good your players are. But you can't just go head-to-head with them, especially an amazing team like that, which might be the most skilled team in the world. You know, them and I think TSM have the highest skill level overall. You can't go head-to-head with them and just play normal standard CS and hope to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their bread and butter. They beat teams like that all day long.
Yeah. You know, so, I mean, fair play to Happy for just sort of saying, look, this is another day in the office for us.
Is what it
rather
is,
than trying to, you know, oversell and overhype something that was only ever going to go one way right from its inception. You know, like I say, full credit to Immunity. It's great that they're here. You know, we want to see, definitely want to see more of them. No discredit to them, but you're not ready to play with the likes of Envyus right now.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Group A, the other group. And again, that is happening right now on the Challenger stage. And again, we have right now Na'Vi taking on Vox. I'm looking at the score right now. It is 4-3 in Na'Vi's favor. First side of Cobblestone. And again, very, very tight group, as you can see, 5-5-5-1-1. So, again, it's going to come down to these last couple matches for these teams to really kind of separate who's going to go through and who's not.
I mean, again, it's crazy to think of Vox being on joint points with Fnatic and Nip, you know, after 3 games played by all of them. And, you know, I think Get Right tweeted during the interval after they drew with Vox, he's like, the groups are crazy right now. And what's especially interesting as well, of course, is, you know, Vox are... You're very close in terms of round difference. Now, that's not going to come into play because Fnatic's last game, of course, is going to be against Team Liquid, where I reckon they're going to get a cricket score, you know what I mean? So it's really all about what Vox can do to Na'Vi. And, yeah, I mean, just a great showing by the Aussies. It's got to be said. And, do you know what? I mean, as much as I'm a fan of Nip and a fan of Fnatic, obviously, and a fan of Na'Vi, they were my pick to get out of the group, maybe pip Nip to it. I'd love to see Vox go through. I mean,
he's a fan of 4 out of the 5 teams in the group, Scoots. Don't let it ever be said that Rich has changed, that he panders to the crowd.
Oh,
you know.
hey,
is there any Americans in the crowd? No. I'm a fan of everyone except Liquid, pretty much. They can just get out. But Na'Vi, love them.
I've gone in on Liquid.
Okay.
The management are here, you know. So yeah, they're in the crowd.
Going on them as well, mate.
Yeah,
they're not doing a great job.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. We'll do that later.
They've almost killed the golden goose. You know what I'm saying? They should anyway. That guy's terrible.
But anyway, so. Fair play, and I'm not even talking about, you know, maybe personalities or whatever, just teams that I like to watch. Yeah. I think in terms of the teams that are in that group, I mean, they're like exciting teams to watch. That's, you know, So it'd be nice to see any of those go through into a knockout stage, but for Vox to be there, wild card, something a bit different.
Well, the thing is,
that would be nice.
I know coming from Australia, you know, to use their lingo, Vox is a team that's got a lot of spunk, and you like guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, known for it.
He's a big spunk.
We're off to Soho later tonight, aren't we?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. All right. So okay,
stop this.
So we're about halfway through the day. We've got 6 matches total. We've done 3. Again, we're going to take a short little break. Envyus is our next match. So since they just played, we are going to give them a little bit of extended break to kind of resettle.
Rich is going to get a nice foamy latte.
Yeah, they don't have to set up in their booth, but you know, Virtus Pro has to move into the booth, get all set up. So we're going to take a little extended break. But again, on the Challenger stream, you do have Vox taking on Na'Vi. So definitely check that out, and then come back and see us in a little while. Thanks.
I'm on it.
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 I'm on it.